Welcome, good morning. Welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show, our Monday morning edition where we just kind of take a look at what's going on in the market. And it's the time of year still where we walk outside and look at the sun and use words that used to get our mouth washed out with soap when we were kids. Did that ever happen to you when you were a kid? I did. Of course, that was the 60s. And that only happens once. After your mother tries to brush your teeth with a bar of ivory soap, that's when I embrace the word friggin'. So, but it's still hot. It's, 106, not 114. Yeah, there's a difference, but it is what it is. So it's, the hope is eternal. The end is near. So what's going on in our market? I wanted to start with this chart here called the market cycle that they use at the Cromford Market report. And it kind of, they show these examples of what a market cycle is: optimism, enthusiasm, euphoria, and then unease, denial. No, things aren't going down. Oh, this is looking bad. This is terrible. I got to sell. We are between skepticism and hope. Let me know if you think that's where we're at. I think that's pretty accurate. We're waiting for something to happen. And we're waiting for something to happen that can give us some hope that affordability will become easier. Now, somebody made a comment on my channel yesterday on a video that said Phoenix is overpriced. And I guess my question would be, compared to Boston, Seattle, Los Angeles, New York, Nebraska, I think the accurate statement is we've hit an affordability wall, and we've hit it in more places than just Phoenix. Yes, rates are coming down. We're starting to see some of that, but not enough. And rates don't solve everything. And in fact, if they come down too much, we reignite the real estate market. We're sitting here at 6.56 as an average on the survey. Nothing major. But, the rates, I think they're going to not change much between now and the first of the year. And beware of the news if you're looking, at refinancing, which, by the way, has really increased with the recent rate drop that we've had. People that, did the marry the house date to rate thing are now seeing this as an opportunity, so they're getting out there and they're refinancing. Or perhaps some people with a lot of equity are using refinancing to pay off some other existing debt, because Lord knows credit card debt's through the roof now as a percentage of what they charge you. So there's a lot of that going on. That's really jumped up. But interest rates, when I say beware, there's just all this chatter and all this misinformation that says, well, the central bank is going to cut rates in September. So you're waiting. And we've seen it here. We've seen it every time. Whenever they announce and go, well, after our meeting, we've decided we're going to cut rates by 0.25%, rates go up. Because the bond market controls the mortgage rates, and they've already baked those numbers in the cake. And there's maybe some chatter that maybe they've got a little ahead of their skis here a little bit. They're anticipating at least a 0.50 reduction, maybe 0.75, but I don't see that. And so they've priced that into the market, and then it went down to 6.1. Now we're back up at 6.5. So I think the sentiment is, well, maybe they're not going down as far as we can. But how much relief is that really going to give us? When we look here at our market now, just on the Cromford Demand Index and the Supply Index, you can see here that it says we're balanced. And I want to share another chart with you that kind of compares what that chart means when we look at it. And here is price responses and demand indexes. Hey, do me a favor. If you're watching live, I'm curious, are you watching me on your desktop, your TV, or your phone? Let me know in the comments section. Very curious about that. I get to see overall, but I don't know really what's going on with the live. But you can see here, see that big green seller's market, how long we've been in the seller's market? We're balanced right here around 214. Seller's market again in 213. This is insane seller's market here. I call it the silly season. But look at this, how the Cromford Market Index, as far as demand, goes way up and supply goes way down. This graph shows you what happened to prices. Now, we had the demand index just go down quickly. See the spacing between the dots there? This is when they jacked up rates from 3.5 to 7, like quickly. Danilo, watching on the phone, thank you. That Makes a difference on my end too when I look and see the phone, how it lines things up. That's why I'm asking. So anyway, we saw this come down here, and then prices started coming down right there. And then we're in a seller's market here, 2023. You can see the prices come up. Now we're starting to turn a little bit, and we're going flatlined. And that's what we're seeing on pricing. And we've got Michael saying he's watching on the phone here. And we've got, what's this? Love Puppies watching on the phone. And here's on my phone in the car on the way to work. Well, I hope you just have the audio on. Oh, gosh. I did a video once where I was in the car and I'm just kind of talking while I'm driving. And I was scolded, so I don't do that anymore. Do I think rates will see 4%? If we see 4%, it's because something else is going wrong in the economy. In other words, unemployment really shot up. The market collapsed. Financial crisis, something where the central bank has to inject more liquidity. And they're not doing that right now. They're pulling back from all the liquidity we had. They're pulling back and trying to get things back to a soft landing and normal. So I'm not holding my breath for 4%. And to be honest with you, as a realtor, with our inventory being where we're at now, I don't want to see 4% when we've only got 18,000 listings, because then now you're not going to be able to afford the house. You might be able to for the first 60 days, and it's going to go nuts again. And so not a big fan of seeing that down the road. If you want to refinance and maybe we see 4% again and we have almost 30,000 in listings, that wouldn't be a bad party. But I think before we see 4%, we're probably going to experience some pain. And I've got some charts here that show real estate prices in relationship to recessions, which I think you'll find interesting. And we've got a few people here watching on desktop and Patty on a desk topo. I type like that too sometimes. Here's where we are in active listings. They're just staying flat. I mean, we're not going up or down. When I say that people are sitting on their hands, either not wanting to list or not wanting to buy, I don't think anything says it better than right here. And as I alluded to or spoke broadly about it last night in a video about the new changes with the National Association of Realtor that went live here in Arizona on August 1st, even though your local news says it happened Saturday, August 17th. We did it here August 1st. So they're just copying articles from national news. Like, don't get me started. But I think open house traffic is going to explode. I think buyers are so confused about the agreements that are out there. And, I hear I have to pay all the commission now. This is terrible. I'm just going to go directly to selling agents. I think open houses are going to explode. And we've got AZ here, AZJD in the Phoenix market. I see some guys doing 2 sub deals. What's your thoughts on that? 2 deals. Tell me what you mean by that. I'm a little confused. I've only had 2 cups of coffee. We have here an interesting one when it comes to talking about rent here. What does, I'll start it way at the top here. These valley cities offer renters the most space for $1,500. I said, okay, that sounds cool, but look at how small for $1,500. Tucson is 896 square feet. You want rent, bigger place, Tucson's the place to go. With Scottsdale, you only get 675 square feet. It's probably a studio. Tempe, 691. Here's Gilbert at 802, Chandler at 802. That's what you get for $1,500, folks. It's not a whole lot of room. Price changes out there per week are actually going down. Those are price cuts. We're still got a sales to list ratio going at about 97%. It's not anemic, although it's slow, but it's not picking up by any means. The election makes everybody just all jittery, and they just sit on their hands going, I don't know what I want to do. And we're seeing a lot of that. Now, I talked and alluded to, and I'm pulling it up here, that's why I'm looking to the right, medium home sale prices and recessions. I got a good morning sunshine from Renee. Good to see you. That's the fun about going live. You get to see, I feel like I know you. It's kind of fun. Home sale prices and recessions. Take a look at this. I look how they put the comments on here. 1970 recession, snore. Recession 75, nope, nope, nope. In other words, prices didn't go down. 1990 went down, yeah, a little bit. Nope. In 2000 there, I think that was 0102. And I like this. The big recession, 2008. She says, okay, fine. So, and then right now, we're going along, and we had a recession in 2020. And then you can see what happened to house prices because we've never had this much money injected into our economy as we did after the pandemic. So it was that's what we're up against. All this money pushed out there, and we had inflation. $1.9 trillion spent just in one bill alone. The central bank just printing, printing, printing. Now we're trying to pull back. And if you actually look at money supply, it's not coming down as fast as you'd think it would, despite all the doom and gloomers going, oh, it's collapsing. It's barely turning. So we're unwinding ever so slowly. So waiting for something to happen is getting harder and harder. We used to expect things to turn around in 3 months, 6 months. It's even rough to think of something maybe being in this situation for several years. Not sure. Hope we didn't get too many folks who married the house and dated the rate. You know what I didn't like about that? I mean, there's times when that's a great strategy, but it's a hope. It's not a strategy. I hope rates go down. Now you can look at the data and go, well, more than likely, yes, they're going to go down. And today, every indication is it looks like we will be lower. But back when they were about 7.5, I'm like, I don't know. They're basically just taking over sellers' rate and loan and the banks to capitalize on the rate at the 2 to 4%. There is some of that. That is assuming their loan. We're seeing a little more of that, not a lot. And the thing to recall too, when you do it, it takes a long time to close a loan like that. You're not going to get it closed in 30 days. For some reason, it takes a long time doing an assumption. It takes at least 45 days from what I understand. Renee here says, I still feel as if we have a healthy buyer and a slow move to normal inventory levels. Well, here's our chart showing what we're doing by city here. And they've color-coded it for us, and we watch this a lot. So here's the sellers markets, everything in green. From Fountain Hills to Cave Creek, or Fountain Hills to Gilbert, is considered a seller's market. Fountain Hills at 173. And then other sellers markets that were not listed on this chart. Take a look at this. Sun City West, 112. But check out Sun Lakes, 191.5. That's a seller's market. If you list in Sun Lakes, even though there's only 67 homes for sale down there today, you're not going to get hammered asking for a ton of concessions because, you're with the bat and the ball. Tolleson, 199.9. Isn't that interesting? Other buyers market, Casa Grande, Litchfield Park. Buckeye is at the bottom of the pack outside of Casa Grande in the 60s, and that means it's a buyer's market, mostly because you're up against new builds. And new builds are really just, I got an email this weekend of a new build offering all kinds of concessions and a buyer broker commission of 4%. I thought that was pretty wild. And so, honey, start the car. And that's what we're seeing out there in some cases. Now, looking forward, finally here, this is single family permits year to date. And we're sitting there at 15,992 today. Those are permits year to date now. Now, it takes a year and a half for that to actually turn into a house. And so we're seeing them pull back a little bit that they did in 2023, which is why we don't have a huge explosion of inventory right now. Nationally, builders have really pulled back. And when people ask you, well, how come we had a shortage in the first place? Well, look right here. I mean, they weren't building after the 2008 collapse. They left town and said, we're out. We're not going to do it. And so we had to wait for all that inventory to get absorbed. And then along came the big reduction in rates. All the money pumped out there and sucked it up like crazy. Here came the high prices. So now they're a little more cautious. We're at 15,992. That's to 2007 levels. But take a look at 2004 and 5, where the permits were 27 grand here, and then they were 26,000 here. And I remember during that period asking, well, where are all the people coming from? Because you could see how many jobs were coming to the valley. It wasn't that great. I'm saying, okay, we're putting 27,000 homes on the market. You know, we only added 5,000 jobs last month. I mean, what are we doing here? It's not a perpetual emotion machine. Our number one employer in the valley at that point was construction. Number two was healthcare. So now our economy is more diverse here. But when you see that your number one employer is construction, it can't feed itself. And so that became pretty rough. What did delinquencies look like? It's very tiny on the chart. It's not, I don't have it pulled up here now, but I looked at it last week and it's still below normal. Now, when you see articles talking about delinquencies, they're going to say things like the percentage of delinquencies are high. And I may be able to pull that up and put it in the comment section later, but the percentage is high. So it gets me back to my saying that says a large percentage of a small number is still a small number. You know, you can be up 50% in delinquencies and go, oh, it was 5 people. I'm trying to find here. Let me show you what I'm looking at here on, and you guys have access to do this too, mortgagenewsdaily.com. And you can go look at vacancy rate, home ownership rate, housing inventory, price index, new home prices, existing mortgage applications. And I was trying to see if they have what we're trying to look for here, and that is delinquencies. And it's not here. I've got to find it somewhere else. If we get into housing news here, just to give you an example, housing starts and permits stalling as builders face headwinds. That's what I just showed you. It's starting to come down. Builder confidence languishing, but timing is partly to blame. Mortgage application volume soars. Refis up 35%. Part of what the refinancing may be, and I think it is there's a higher delinquency in credit card payments. We are seeing that. People got spiked and spanked pretty hard. Inflation being what it is, people are using their credit cards to try and stay afloat, and it's getting them in trouble. But mortgage delinquencies, the last time I saw, not to belabor the fact, was pretty lame. Even when I look at, and let's see if I can pull it up here too, when I look at foreclosures pending for our market, that chart, let's take a look at this together, is 955. Those are pending. That means they're 90 days late. And majority of those are getting scooped up by investors coming in and going, let me help you out. So they never really make it to the trustee sale. Now, if you go back here in 2020, we were at 1798 and we're sitting here at 995. So it's kind of small. So it's at what I'd say normal or below normal numbers. Love the new platform, Ticker Tape. Glad you like that. I try to update that every morning before I get on. And I don't know how to adjust the font. So if you don't like that font, I'm stuck with it. I'm starting a new program. It's called Restream instead of StreamYard. It offers more things to use than StreamYard. And StreamYard was giving me some sound problems. I'd be talking and they'd go, I tried to fix it and I couldn't. So I said, well, I'm going to try something else. Terry here says, National Association of Realtors won't survive all the state's lawsuits and class action. You know, it's a good year to be a lawyer. They're getting sued. And I don't know how that's going to shake out. They're getting sued and people are upset with the National Association of Realtors for dictating to us what we can and can't do. Now, it's an association. It's been out there for years. The people that are in that make a lot of money. And, so they're just not very popular right now. They're basically just taking the seller's rate and loan. Okay, that's new comments I got there. I just put this up there so you guys can see live what's coming in. I think here's what I see going into December. Rates are 6.5 now. I think the lowest you're going to see us get 6.1. We've seen increases in values now of about 3 to 4% for the year, except over $1 million. They've come down a little bit. I don't see any of that changing. I don't care which party wins in November, whatever real estate looked like in October, it'll look like that again in December, with the exception of December just being, again, painfully slow because it's the holiday season. And in we go to January. And so the December we'll have a meeting with the central banks again, deciding if we're going to cut. So it's all going to depend on unemployment, gross domestic product, our inflation rate. Now remember, we've had 2 good months of inflation data show up, but that doesn't make them want to hurry up and get the cart before the horse, because they did that in the late 70s. Inflation came roaring back. So while we sit back and we look at what the central bank's going to do in our little real estate bubble, that's not necessarily what we want to see for our economy, because, hey, yay, rates go down, we can sell more homes. Well, make it easier to buy homes. That's all great, but that all goes away if all of a sudden inflation roars its ugly head again. So that's what I want to continue to watch. There isn't any big economic news coming out this week. You've got the DNC convention for 3 days, going to occupy a lot of people's attention. Certainly not mine. I read headlines. I like reading a lot of different articles, but I'm not a guy that sits in front of the TV. I'll watch Netflix, watch a few videos there, but I never watch the news anymore. I'll listen to it in the radio. I've got satellite TV in my truck. I listen to that, and people go, "Where do you get your news?" All over the place. I'm a data junkie when it comes to real estate. So before I get on my live shows here, I've put everything up, about half of what I think I'm going to talk about on Sunday night. Take a look at the topic, design the thumbnail, set everything up. And then I get up in the morning and I'm about 90 minutes on here just looking for any updates and any news. And I get a lot of emails in the industry that help me with that. So trying to see why this won't roll up here on me, the chat. Well, I'm going to get rid of that in a second. Let me hide that and do something a little more functional. How's that sound? Because we do have a comment here and I don't want to miss it. You're having way too much fun with this new platform. I love it. Too many buttons to put. Boy, you picked up on that, didn't you? And there's more buttons I haven't even discovered yet. There's some overlays here. I'm going to bore you to tears here, folks. Watch this. Try this one. Yay, subscribe. So yeah, there's some cool new buttons on here, and I kind of like it. And there's this one here. Got a question? Ask in the chat. I can change the colors, put all kinds of things in there. I can reduce how I sit here and give you a little flashy background. I got videos that'll probably give you a seizure. So anyway, enough fun with that. I hope everybody enjoyed what we were sharing today. And do me a favor and punch the like button. And I will be back probably with the video somewhere along Wednesday evening, I think, where I like to recap what's going on for the week. Pat and I will be back at 5 o'clock on Thursday. He was in Wisconsin for the week at a charity fundraiser, and I think he flew back home last night, and we're going to see what's going on with rates. Until then, have a great Monday. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you soon.